Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj, investigator Bajaj tonight for us. It's interesting. So the big news, as Christina was saying, is both Gene Hackman and his wife tested negative for carbon monoxide poisoning. The last event on Hackman's pacemaker, February 17th. Timing makes sense for him. No idea what happened to her, the dog. The rest of it is really up in the air, Vic.
That's exactly right. And those details that were brought out by Christina just a moment ago are so telling, but there are some specific details contained within the affidavit that bear mentioning. For instance, the pills that were found in the bathroom were only on the countertop, not on the floor. Therefore, the question is who ingested the pills that may have been on the floor, or what ingested it, perhaps the canine.
Right.
If a canine takes in a toxicologically debilitating amount of this medication, the canine will pass away just as a human being will. A necropsy will be done upon the deceased canine, and we'll find out those results, as we will on the toxicology results from the autopsy that will be released soon. The other fact that's really telling in this case is the sunglasses that are found next to Hackman. That is evidence of a fall. Now, you accurately point out that there's no evidence of blunt force trauma, but 65 years and older is a very dangerous time to be alive. If you fall, the vast majority of fatalities are caused by accidental falls in that age group. He was over 90 years old. The sunglasses indicates a fall. You wouldn't see blunt force trauma. It could be internal damage. She either ingested voluntarily, because they were together, don't forget, for 34 years. And the dark possibility is an individual taking their own life, and the canine, for instance, ingesting drugs that were on the ground.
Dr. Michael Baden, the chief forensic, the chief medical examiner for New York City, I'm a fan of his, and he said the following, quoting here, he had a heart attack, talking about Gene Hackman in the mudroom, and I suspect she found him. She couldn't lift him. She ran to the bathroom to get his medication, and she either fell and sustained a subdural hematoma, a brain bleed that killed her, or she had her own pre-existing condition. Again, it explains maybe Gene Hackman, but then the wife, they said there was no signs of any blunt trauma or any force or any injuries like that.
That's right. But for our viewers and listeners to understand, a subdural hemorrhage is a hemorrhage that occurs within the cranium, within the skull area. And what this is in that blood-brain barrier, it's evidence of a concussion, for instance, that could be fatal. That would be evidenced by blunt force trauma. The detective in the affidavit was very clear. No evidence of blunt force trauma on either of this deceased. Maybe a bit skeptical on that conclusion, but it is true that her body was on the right side, which would be facing the exit of that bathroom. So she was clearly leaving, or something caused her to fall on that right side. A lot of mysteries here, but one thing can be said for sure. We know cardiac arrest. I think we can take that to the bank at this time. And I think we can also say lack of pills on the ground near the scene of her deceased body is evidence of potential fatality for the canine in her.
I got to go, Vic, but did they all die at the same time, or was this spread over some time? The dog, the wife, Gene Hackman.
Forensic entomology, 13th century Chinese research is what started our forensic sciences. What I think will happen in this case is the coroner will investigate larvae, actually fly larvae. There's evidence that larvae will detect a body and the pheromones that are exuded from a deceased body within 1 to 2 days. By the estimates of New Mexico's weather at the time, an expert would testify it would take up to 2 days for the larva to find. They will adjust and investigate the moist parts of the body, eyes, mouth, and they'll find out evidence of time of death.
You picked the wrong career. You should have been an investigator.
Thank you,
Trace.
Trace.
Appreciate it.